There's a moment I see in nearly every patient over 60. They approach a staircase not with confidence, but with hesitation. One hand on the rail, one foot hovering, heart quietly racing. I'm Dr. Nolan, and I want to tell you, the problem isn't the stairs. It's the silent changes happening in your legs, your balance, and your circulation. But here's the good news. You can reverse them. Today, I'll show you the only 5 exercises you truly need to make stairs feel safe again, because you deserve to keep rising. It often starts subtly. You skip the stairs just for today. Maybe you feel a little tired, or your knee twinges on that second step. But over time, that choice becomes a pattern, and that pattern becomes a loss. What used to be routine begins to feel uncertain. You pause longer at the bottom. You glance around for something to hold. And deep down, a quiet thought begins to form. What if I can't do this much longer? The truth is, stairs don't become harder just because of age. They become harder because of what's changing beneath the surface. After 60, the muscles that lift you, especially the quadriceps in the front of the thighs and the gluteals in the hips, begin to shrink. It's called sarcopenia. And without intervention, it can lead to a 30% decline in leg strength by your early 70s. But the changes don't stop at muscle. Your inner ear, which helps with balance, becomes less responsive. The nerves that communicate position from your ankles to your brain slow down. Even mild dehydration can affect the pressure sensors in your blood vessels, making you feel dizzy or unsteady. But perhaps the most dangerous change isn't physical, it's psychological. Many older adults begin avoiding the stairs not because they physically can't do it, but because the fear of falling has taken over. That fear slowly chips away at confidence. And confidence is one of the first things the aging body needs to hold on to. I remember a woman in her late 60s telling me she stopped going upstairs to her bedroom. She'd moved to the guest room on the first floor just for the winter, she said. But winter came and went. And so did spring. By summer, she couldn't climb 10 steps without holding both railings, and she hated herself for it. Not because she felt weak, but because she realized she had surrendered her freedom without even noticing. Sometimes, it's not about strength, it's about reclaiming the choice to move where you want, when you want. So ask yourself gently, have I started making quiet detours around things I used to face head-on? And if so, what would it mean to believe that it isn't too late to rebuild what was lost? Because it isn't. The human body still responds, even into your 80s. But the longer you avoid stairs, the faster your body forgets how to climb them. That's why we start today, not just with movement, but with understanding. The moment you see what's really changing is the moment you can change the outcome. If there's one movement I want every person over 60 to master again, it's this. Not a stretch, not a jog. Just the simple act of standing up from a chair without using your hands. It seems small until it isn't. Because when that moment slips away, so does your ability to get out of bed, off the toilet, or up the stairs with any real safety. What makes sit to stand so powerful is that it retrains 2 of the most important muscle groups in your body, the quadriceps and gluteals. These are the engines that lift you. And yet, after 60, they quietly shrink with disuse, especially in people who sit more than they move. By your 70s, that loss can be significant, but here's what most people don't realize: you can reverse it. Daily sit to stands performed in sets of 10, have been shown to improve lower body power by up to 42% in just 4 weeks. You don't need a gym, just a sturdy chair, your own weight, and the willingness to move through discomfort instead of around it. Start by sitting tall at the edge of the chair, feet flat, knees slightly over your toes. Lean forward, tighten your thighs and hips, and rise without using your hands. Pause briefly, then lower yourself slowly. Don't plop. That lowering phase is just as important. It retrains your control, not just your strength. Men often find this frustrating at first. Why is this hard, they ask? Because over the years, their powerful thighs gave way to habit. Chairs that tilt back, arms that always help, muscles that were never asked to show up again. But once you start asking, they respond. And for women, especially after menopause, this movement becomes even more critical. Estrogen decline impacts fast-twitch muscle fibers, the ones that give you the quick, controlled bursts to push up. Without them, climbing stairs feels like dragging your legs through sand. Sit-to-stands rebuild that speed, that stability. One of my patients, a 74-year-old widow, once said this move gave her more than strength. It gave her confidence to say yes to her granddaughter's birthday party again because it was up a flight of stairs, and she knew she could do it. So ask yourself quietly, can I get out of a chair without using my hands? If not, what happens if I don't rebuild that now? Start today, 10 repetitions, morning and evening. If that's too much, start with 5, but make it daily. Because the muscles that lift you up don't vanish overnight, they come back, if you let them. And sometimes, rising out of a chair is the first way you rise back into your life. When I ask older adults what they fear most, it's rarely illness, it's falling. And not just falling, but falling sideways. That unexpected misstep off a curb, the stumble while turning, or that one wobble at the top of the stairs that happens too fast to stop. These moments don't come from weakness, where we expect it's not always the knees or ankles. Often, it's something much more hidden, the small muscles on the outside of your hips. The gluteus medius, a muscle that hugs your hip and stabilizes your pelvis, is one of the first to weaken with age. And yet, it rarely gets attention in traditional strength programs. When this muscle loses tone, you begin to sway during steps. Your balance shifts without warning. You hesitate before crossing the street, turning quickly, or stepping sideways. That's where the lateral step-up becomes a game changer. By stepping sideways onto a low, stable surface, a thick book, a small stair, or even a sturdy box, you retrain that gluteus medius to fire again. Just 3 sets of 10 reps per leg, a few times a week, can improve lateral stability by nearly 30% in people over 65. Not just in theory, in real life. Turning in the kitchen, getting in and out of the car, walking across grass. Start by standing beside your step. Place your outer foot on top, press through your heel, and lift the opposite leg to meet it. Pause. Then step down slowly, with control. Use a wall or rail for balance at first. You're not trying to go fast, you're trying to go steady. I've seen this one move change lives. A 72-year-old man I worked with hadn't walked his dog alone in a year, not because of distance, but because he didn't trust his legs on the uneven trail. 6 weeks of lateral step-ups later, he didn't just walk that trail, he jogged half of it, not for speed, for joy. And for older women, this move offers a second benefit. It strengthens the hip girdle, which is critical in preventing fractures from falls. As bone density drops post-menopause, even a small shift in pelvic control can be the difference between a bruise and a break. You may not see this muscle, but you'll feel it when it's gone, and you'll thank it when it's back. Because the ability to catch yourself mid-step, to pivot without fear, to reach sideways without tipping over, that's not luck. That's trained resilience. So ask yourself, have you noticed your body feeling less steady when you turn? What would it feel like to trust your balance again, not just forward, but side to side? This isn't about getting athletic. It's about reclaiming something more personal, your confidence to move through the world, one safe step at a time. There's something different about going down stairs, isn't there? Going up is effort, but going down is vulnerability. Your body leans forward, gravity pulls, and for a split second, you're not quite sure if your leg will hold. That uncertainty is real. And it's why descending is often more dangerous than climbing, especially after 70. Here's what most people don't realize. Stepping down doesn't just require strength, it demands control. Your muscles, especially the quadriceps and gluteals, must lengthen while supporting your full body weight. It's called eccentric strength. And without it, even one missed step can end in a fall. That's where the step-down exercise becomes essential. It's not flashy, it's not fast, but it trains your legs to resist gravity with precision. Seniors who consistently practice step-downs improve joint control by over 35% in just 6 weeks. That's enough to dramatically lower your risk of stair-related injury. Begin on a single, low step. 4 to 6 inches is enough. Stand tall with both feet on the step. Hold a rail or countertop for support if needed. Slowly lower one foot to the floor without letting the standing leg collapse. Pause. Then bring the foot back up. The key is in the lowering, not in how fast you can repeat it, but in how steadily you can descend. As your strength builds, add light weights. Just 5 pounds in each hand increases muscular engagement by over 20%. For some of my patients, even water bottles are a meaningful start. One man I worked with, 76, former firefighter, used to freeze at the top of his own stairs. It wasn't fear, he admitted to. It was hesitation. After adding step-downs to his daily routine, he didn't just walk down with confidence he carried laundry again. Small things, yes. But they restore dignity. And for women, especially those in their 70s facing joint pain or postural shifts after menopause, this movement supports joint alignment and prevents forward falls. The muscles in your hips and thighs act like brakes if those brakes are worn out. The risk of injury rises dramatically. You may not think much about stepping down until the day you can't. That's why we train for it now while your body still remembers how to adapt. So ask yourself quietly, do I hesitate before going downstairs? Have I avoided carrying things down just in case something happens? Rebuilding this control doesn't take long, but the confidence it gives you that lasts far beyond the staircase. Because when you trust your body to catch you on the way down, you stop fearing the fall and start living with steadier steps. Most people don't give much thought to their calves until they trip over nothing, roll an ankle on uneven ground, or feel their legs tremble walking downstairs. But these slender muscles at the back of your lower legs carry more responsibility than we often realize. They're your body's silent stabilizers, working constantly to keep you upright, steady, and safe. With age, the calf muscles, the gastrocnemius and soleus, lose both size and coordination. That loss isn't just aesthetic, it's functional. Weak calves lead to slower reaction time, ankle instability, and poor blood return from the legs. And without strong calves, the act of stepping up, or more critically, stepping down, becomes less about movement and more about risk. Calf raises done daily directly counter that decline. They train not only the muscles, but also the tendons and supporting ligaments that protect your ankles during every shift in weight. Just 2 sets of 15 heel raises a day can reduce fall risk by up to 25% in adults over 70. That's a quiet but powerful shift in safety. Start with both feet flat, standing near a countertop or chair. Slowly rise onto the balls of your feet, pause at the top, then lower with control. Don't bounce. Don't rush. The benefit lives in that slow, full-range movement. Once you feel steady, try single-leg versions. Alternating feet. Even advanced age doesn't limit progress. Only consistency does. And beyond balance, calf raises also support blood flow. Your calves act like a second heart, pushing blood upward. Seniors with stronger calf contractions have lower swelling in the feet, warmer extremities, and even improved oxygenation to the brain. That means better circulation, clearer thinking, and less heaviness in the legs. I remember one widowed patient, an 80-year-old woman living alone, who told me her legs had started feeling hollow at night. Cold, restless, unsure. We added calf raises to her morning routine, and within weeks, her symptoms softened. Not only could she step more confidently, but her nighttime sugar cravings also decreased. Why? Because better circulation helped regulate her stress and insulin patterns, making her evenings feel less scattered, more grounded. For women especially, who often face postmenopausal shifts in vascular tone, calf activation helps restore warmth and balance from the ground up, literally. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, do your legs feel steady under you? Do your feet feel connected to the rest of you? Or do they sometimes feel far away? The smallest muscles often carry the biggest burdens, but they also respond the fastest when called upon. Start with 2 minutes a day. Over time, those minutes will give you miles of stability and a sense of upright confidence that no cane or handrail can replace. Some movements seem too simple to matter until you understand what they're really doing. Marching in place is one of those. To the untrained eye, it's just lifting knees up and down. But beneath the surface, this gentle motion is doing something far more profound. It's reconnecting the hips, the core, and the brain all at once. When you march in place, your body is practicing weight transfer, single leg stability, and rhythm. That rhythm sends signals to the cerebellum, the part of your brain responsible for coordination. And as you age, especially past 70, these connections begin to fade unless actively reawakened. Marching helps reestablish them. Older adults who do 3 minutes of structured marching a day improve gait confidence and reaction time by nearly 30% within 6 weeks. The motion strengthens the hip flexors, the very muscles you rely on to lift your leg for the next stair. And as your balance improves, so does your trust in your own steps. But this movement isn't just about mechanics. For women especially, postmenopausal shifts in hormones can dull core activation and weaken postural control. Gentle rhythmic movement like marching can restore pelvic engagement, improving both alignment and emotional grounding. The subtle coordination between left and right sides brings balance not only to your body, but to your nervous system. I had one patient, 78, who began with 10 steps a day holding a walker. 2 months later, she was marching through her living room without support, pausing only to catch her breath, not her balance. And there's more. Marching stimulates circulation and even helps regulate blood sugar levels. Evening marches just a few dozen steps can reduce sugar cravings in older women by calming the adrenal system and reducing cortisol. That 9 pull towards something sweet. It often softens after movement. Start slow. Stand near a counter. Lift one knee toward your waist. Pause. Lower gently. Then switch sides. Focus on posture. Don't sway. Don't rush. This is not aerobic training. It's reconnection. Ask yourself, when was the last time you stood on one leg without holding something? Could you do it now, even for a few seconds, without fear? Marching in place reawakens forgotten patterns, not flashy, not complicated, but powerful. Because when your hips, core, and brain start moving in sync again, the rest of life stairs, curbs, uneven ground begins to feel possible again. And as you take those quiet, deliberate steps each day, you're not just marching in place, you're marching back into control, into presence, and into a steadier version of yourself. For many women in their 60s and 70s, there comes a moment, often subtle, when the body no longer feels like it did. Not just softer or slower, but more fragile. A missed step on the stairs that rattles you more than it should. A bruise that lingers too long. A sense that your balance isn't just about muscle anymore. It's about something deeper. That something is bone, and behind it, hormones. After menopause, estrogen levels drop sharply. This isn't just a change in mood or temperature. It's a change in the very architecture of your body. Estrogen protects bone density, supports muscle responsiveness, and even helps maintain blood flow to the joints. Without it, bone loss accelerates. In fact, women lose up to 20% of their bone mass in the first 5 to 7 years after menopause. And with that loss comes a new kind of risk: hip fractures, spinal compression, and stair falls that were once unlikely now feel dangerously possible. But here's the hope: your bones still respond to pressure, not pressure from pain or strain, but from purposeful, weight-bearing movement. Exercises like marching in place, step-downs, and even simple heel raises stimulate bone-forming cells, osteoblasts, by activating tension across the femur and pelvis. Just 3 sessions a week of light-impact movement has been shown to slow bone density loss by over 30% in women between 65 and 75. And then there's hydration. Few people connect water with bone, but it plays a critical role. After hormonal shifts, blood vessels lose some of their elasticity. Dehydration, especially in older women, tightens circulation, stiffens joints, and increases fall risk. Many women in their 70s drink less on purpose, fearing late-night bathroom trips. But the cost of that trade-off is often joint pain, fatigue, and loss of circulation to the hips and knees. I once worked with a 72-year-old woman who had stopped walking upstairs entirely. She thought it was just muscle loss, but her real struggle was fear her legs felt brittle. We added just 5 minutes of daily stair training, barefoot balance exercises, and a hydration schedule tailored to mornings and early afternoons. Within 6 weeks, She was using the second floor again, smiling, even playful. Her daughter called it getting mom back. Hormones may shift, but vitality can be restored. Gentle movement, paired with mindful hydration and consistency, becomes the replacement for what the body no longer makes on its own. So take a quiet moment to ask yourself, are you drinking enough for your joints to stay supple? Have you been avoiding movement not because you're tired, but because you're afraid of breaking something? Your body is still capable, but it needs your permission and your participation to stay strong. These aren't just exercises. They're signals. Every small step tells your bones you're still needed. You're still alive. Keep building. By the time a man reaches his mid-70s, something quiet often begins to happen, not just in his muscles, but in his identity. He notices the stairs more. He holds the railing longer. He hesitates to carry the groceries up in one trip. And though he may never say it out loud, he begins to wonder if this slow, steady fading is simply how it ends. But the truth is, decline after 75 isn't inevitable. It's directional. And with the right choices, it can still change course. Every year past 70, a man loses about 1% of his muscle mass if he's inactive. That loss accelerates after 75, especially in the thighs and hips. But it's not just strength that suffers. Circulation decreases. Oxygen delivery slows. Blood pressure control weakens. Hormonal support, particularly testosterone transport, diminishes. And as the body begins to withdraw from movement, the mind quietly does the same. That's why stair work at this stage isn't about exercise, it's about declaration. Movements like sit to stand, step downs, and controlled marching stimulate more than muscle. They improve blood vessel responsiveness, which in turn supports heart health, cognitive sharpness, and emotional resilience. Men who perform structured lower body training 3 times a week see up to a 28% improvement in balance confidence and a 19% boost in overall mobility within 10 weeks. But those are just numbers. What matters more is what happens behind them. I remember an 80-year-old retired mechanic who hadn't climbed his front steps in a year. His daughter installed a ramp, and he accepted it quietly. But he missed his steps. He missed standing taller at the top. We started with simple sit-to-stands, then light step-downs, 3 times a week. Within 2 months, he wasn't just climbing the steps again. He was carrying a small box of tools. He told me it wasn't about the stairs. Doc, it was about feeling like a man again. And that matters, because for many older men, strength is not about muscle. It's about permission to feel useful, present, and reliable in their own body. These movements rebuild more than balance. They restore confidence. They push blood where it hasn't gone in a while into the brain, the heart, and the places that remind you you're still very much alive. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, have you started stepping aside instead of stepping forward? Are you holding the rail for support or out of habit? Because you've stopped trusting your legs. You can regain that trust, not by wishing, but by moving. Not with intensity, but with intention. Because after 75, the body still listens. But it needs your voice firm, steady, and willing to speak through action. Strength doesn't vanish with age. It only waits to be called back. And every time you step up, especially when it's hard, you remind your body that you're still here, still choosing life. You've just learned the 5 movements that can restore your ability to climb stairs not as a challenge, but as a choice. And I hope, somewhere in these last few minutes, you didn't just hear exercises. I hope you heard something deeper, that it's not too late. Not for strength, not for stability, and not for the quiet kind of confidence that lets you walk into every room, every level of your home without hesitation. I've seen too many people believe they have to settle, that after a certain age, slowing down is just the rule. But your body doesn't follow rules, it responds to signals. When you move, even a little, it listens. And when you move with purpose, it remembers how to thrive. So if today's message stirred something in you, even a small spark, don't keep it to yourself. If this made you reflect today, let someone else feel that too. Share it. You never know whose life might change because you reminded them that healing is still possible. And when you're ready for what comes next, join me in the next video. Daily exercise that lowers blood pressure and heart risk. Because the steps you take today don't just carry you upstairs, they protect your heart, your mind, and your future, and you deserve all of that and more.